Oh, Marco, my love, I'm afraid we can no longer be together. For you see, I have a terrible secret. Whatever it is, mademoiselle, we will get through it. Oh, Marco, you're so sweet. But I'm afraid, no, it's too terrible. You can just tell me, my love. We can get through it. Marco, we cannot be together because I am plastic. Hello, and welcome back to Gardening with Andrew. Today we're talking about radishes, both success and failure. A tale of two radishes, you might say. Behind me here are my good friends, the China Jade. China Jade is a kind of radish sold by Baker Creek Heirloom Seeds. Check them out. And these guys are like daikon radishes, the white ones that are sort of like carrot-shaped. So they're supposed to be good for cutting up, putting in soups and stews and things like that. I wouldn't know because my radishes, which I planted 2.5 months ago, mid-November, these guys have been hanging out here in the garden all winter long, very, very slowly growing. And just this last week, they decided to bolt. Which means they're no longer food. And what, you may ask, is bolting? If you can see on the top of the radish there, we got the regular leaves here and there, but at the very, very tippy top, there's the highest point, has little bits of what looks like broccoli. And it basically is broccoli. Broccolis and radishes are all part of the same plant. And these little tiny broccolis will turn into flowers eventually if you leave them in there long enough, which are kind of cool. You know, bees like them. Lots of other ways to get flowers, though. But if you look at the actual radish, it's kind of a turd radish. You know, it's not really much to go on, and it tastes very stringy, kind of spicy, very similar to arugula. You know, that kind of taste, but far too chewy to be good. So the big question is, why does this happen? Today it's a lovely day. It's about 65 degrees, and that's about how hot it's been all week. So I'm assuming that's the cause. They've been so cold over the whole winter, and now suddenly it's just slightly warmer, and they just figure, boom, okay, we're ready to go. We've been in the ground a long time. We must be getting older, even though we're not getting bigger. Here comes the heat. Let's go ahead and flower, which is what radishes will always do late spring. So even though it's not yet spring, it's early January here, February here, they just think it's time in this climate, in this opportunity, to start going. So, you know, they're getting ready, making flowers, the bees will come along, everything will be hunky-dory. So this is a bit of a mystery, really. It's not really hot enough. This particular kind of radish is set for 50 to 75 degrees. So it's nowhere near their max temperature before they would normally bolt. But I figured, you know, get them in early, because here in the Central Valley of California, it gets real hot in the summer. So trying to maximize the growing time before we get to that point. They were definitely watered. Another thing that can make them bolt is underwatering or erratic watering, like you forget for a while and then you come back. These guys, the ground was so wet from the cold and damp of winter that they were always moist, and I kept a good eye on them. Gave them some fertilizer. Maybe that was the problem. I don't know. If anyone has any thoughts about why they're bolting at this early juncture, let me know. This is another idea I had. These guys, I grew this in this plastic tray a la Monty Don. And these are Easter basket mix, also from Baker Creek. And this particular one is kind of cool. I did a split test. So on this side, this is a seed packet that I have labeled for sale in 2019. So they're a bit old here, a few years back, but apparently they're fine. Look how long they are. They're all kind of flopping over because they've been in here too long. On this side is that same seed packet, but I grew them here in the garden, right in the back there, and let them go to seed like they are here. They've bolted. So I let them bolt, finish their flowering. They make little seed pods. You rip it out of the ground, hang it upside down, let them dry, pull them out of the seed pods. Easy peasy. It was actually quite a lot of work, but they did it, and they did grow, but look how much smaller they are. They're just a little bit wimpier. They still have their cotyledon, their baby leaves on there. And this one's a bit numpty. There we go. So these ones, even though these bloomed or started growing later, they pulled ahead, and now they're looking a lot more developed. So that was a test. It wasn't very well controlled. I didn't think it through very hard, but it was interesting. And that was the first time I ever tried to grow seeds. So yeah, it worked. They are food so far. So anyway, what we're going to do today is yank out these guys because they're no longer edible and put in these guys. Probably won't take up as much space, but what are you going to do? Let's get started. Okay, now we're just going to water it in. So you can see I made no effort to compact the soil. At least I tried not to. But the water will do that for me. And not just this watering, but everyone that comes after it. It'll smush it down just enough so that there's the right level of oxygen around the roots. Roots are weird like that. They need a little bit of oxygen, but not a lot. But especially when they're young, they need more than when they're older. So figure that out. Lovely. Well, it looks a bit of a mess now, but once they get going, we'll check back, see how they do. Who knows? I don't think you're really supposed to transplant radishes. I think you're supposed to put them in the ground when it's warm enough, so maybe if we have some more, we'll plant them next to it and see what happens. That'd be a good third part, actually. Yeah, let's do it. But this is what I'm talking about. Easter basket mix radish. That's what we got right back here. So some grown from me from last year, some sitting in this package and then being planted this year. Both of them grown in my indoor nursery with an artificial light. So they've had a weird upbringing. Kind of trapped in a little tiny tray, but with perfect water and sunlight. Maybe perfect. So what we're going to do is like a last bit experiment here, just for fun. Let's do one more row. Right next to them. I'm just going to cut a little groove with my hand here. And I'm just going to plant enough. No need to really worry about this too much. Just kind of sprinkle them in. There's going to be too many growing too close together, but that's okay. It doesn't matter. You'll just cut some of them out later. You have to be ruthless at this point. Plant too many, cut a lot back. That's the safer way to go, because that's the only way you're going to get enough. Got to use your space efficiently when you're in a little garden. All right. Cover it up. Now with the seeds, I'm going to cover them, and I'm actually going to push down on them a little bit. Unlike these guys, there's no roots here yet. And we need to make sure that the seeds are getting contact with the soil, and therefore the moisture and then there's no air pockets around them that will destroy the roots when they get out there. So, okay. And then I'll water those in, but I need to get more water. So we'll leave it there. Thanks all. See you next time.